Hello, BookTube. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and I am excited to bring to you another episode of my TBR Jar. I have been working on this stack of TBR Jar books for over a year. About a year and a half was the last time I drew anything out of my TBR Jar. Now, I say jar, I have two, and I say jar, they're really not jars. One is a vase, and the other is a bowl, but TBR jar is what everyone calls them, so that's what I'm calling them. Anyway, I started this project in 2018 when I eliminated a lot of books from my shelves. I purged about 210 books, I think, and then I designated another segment of my books that I put in my jars, bowl, vase, whatever, that were books that I wanted to at least take a look at, possibly read, and that I thought I could get rid of maybe after I read them. You know, I knew there were books that, or I thought there were books that I probably were not going to just keep and hang on to because they were going to be favorites. So I put those in my jar. I had the majority of what I started with are nonfiction books. But then just recently, I went back through my Cozy Mysteries and I added quite a few more fiction books to the bowl here. So what I did in the past, and I will link my older videos down below. One was in the most recent one up to this point is January of 2019. So like I said, a year and a half. And the one previous to that was in the fall maybe of 2018. I got that first set of nonfiction books read mostly in November of 2018 for Nonfiction November. And I thought maybe that I would be able to do the same thing in 2019, but I just got off track and I didn't get them read. So, anyway, let me just try to bring it in a minute. So, this is basically going to be an update of what I read the last batch that I drew out in January of 2019. I'm going to tell you about those books, and then I'm going to draw some new ones out of the jars. So I am going to change it up just a little bit because it took me a year and a half to read 6 nonfiction books and a couple of fiction books. I am going to draw out fewer this time. The last 2 times I drew out 6 nonfiction and 1 fiction. But I would like to try to get whatever I draw out today read by the end of this year. So I'm just going to draw out 3 nonfiction. But because I've added some more fiction ones to the bowl, I think I'll go ahead and draw out 2 fiction. And also, since then, I have come up with a better way of getting these books read. In the last few months, the ones that I had left were predominantly either faith-based or self-help or something like that. And because I do a devotional every morning, read my Bible, I read some devotional materials and things like that, I just basically tacked my book on to the end of my devotional. Whatever book I was reading from my TBR jar, I just tried to read at least a chapter or a few pages of that every day after I got done with all my devotional stuff. And sometimes it sort of fit in with my devotion, and other times it was a good segue into my reading day to get that done and out of the way. So I kept that book with my Bible and devotional materials and everything. So I don't know what my dog is barking at. It is getting stormy. Oh, there's a big front end loader going by. There's a window like right in front of me. It's cloudy and it's been thundering. I thought maybe he was barking at thunder, but there was a big thing going by. So anyway, so let's just get started. Let me first tell you about the books that I read, and then we'll draw some new ones. I do have a favorite of the 6 that I picked. And in the last video, I was just going back and watching it today. I went from my least favorite to my favorite in that order, but I can't really rank these in that order. So I'm just going to show them to you because while I can pick a favorite, I didn't really hate any of these. They all had some redeeming qualities and I enjoyed them for the most part. So I'm just going to show them to you. The most recent one I read is this one here, How to Behave So Your Children Will Too by Sal Sevier. This was actually pretty good. I picked up a few little tips from this. Some ideas that I had in my head were confirmed, and some other things were kind of brought to my attention that I thought, I should probably be doing, and that kind of thing. Of course, for me, it's a little late because my kids are 16 and 19, but my 19-year-old has autism, so she still operates on a younger child mentality for the most part, at least as far as I can tell. So, there's still beneficial things in this, and I thought it was a really good book. He says in the back that he was going to be writing one for classrooms, and I went on Goodreads and it's not there. So I don't know if maybe he just abandoned that project, or maybe he's passed away. I don't know. This book is maybe from the 80s or 90s, so it's been around a while. He does have a couple of other books, and I wish that the classroom book was existent, because I sub, and I would love to have a book that would help me with some no nonsense advice for walking in a classroom and being able to deal with whatever comes up in a better way than what I already do. I don't think I do too badly, but I could certainly do better for sure. Anyway, this wasn't bad. This was a library copy. It had come from my library, and I picked it up at a book sale, and I will pass it on to someone else. I doubt I'll keep it, but I did enjoy reading it, and I got a little bit of stuff from it. Then I happened to have picked out 2 marriage books. Both of these were good, but in different ways. This one is What Wives Wish Their Husbands Knew About Women by Dr. James Dobson. I probably enjoyed this one more. This one had more actual marriage advice, and I thought it was really good. It's dated, but it has been updated since this edition. And then this one was really good, but it didn't necessarily apply completely to marriage, I didn't think. It's called Growing a Healthy Marriage. It was edited by Mike Yorkie, and it's actually the focus on the family guide to growing a healthy marriage. So both are related to, focus on the family, because, Dr. Dobson is the founder of that. And this is basically a compilation of articles and excerpts of books and things like that from a multitude of different writers on a multitude of topics that have to do with marriage or could come into play in marriage. And so it's really a good variety of topics, but it maybe didn't really have much that I thought would particularly guide me in my specific marriage, but it was enjoyable to read. I did enjoy it, but it just had a lot of different topics. And so this one didn't blow me away, but I thought it was definitely worth my time to read at least once, and I'm glad that I did. Then the next book is The Sewing Room by Reverend Barbara Hawthorne Crafton. She's an Episcopalian minister, and I think she is in New York or some urban area, and most of her ministry, according to what she has written here, has to do with homeless people, and also people that are in this coastal area where there's just a lot of poverty and a lot of need. And so she works a lot with people with very big physical needs. And she writes this book as a series of vignettes. There are just a lot of little short stories about her life and her ministry. I did enjoy the book for the most part. I did also mention in my Goodreads review, there was one story in particular near the end that bothered me a little bit, because she was upset with another Christian woman who was talking to this man who was on his deathbed, and she didn't like the fact that this woman was talking to him about confessing his sins and things like that, and preparing him to meet the Lord after death. And I thought, okay, this is a priest. Why is she upset about this? She should be doing this too. And so that just seems strange to me, that as a minister, she wasn't thinking about this man's eternity. She was just thinking about not being judgmental to him at this moment, when he's on his deathbed. So her theology differed from mine for sure in that moment. But for the most part, I enjoyed reading the stories about her life and her ministry, and I thought it was a really good book. Then the next one is just a little short book. It's a beautiful little book. I think I will try to maybe gift this to someone now. It's called The 12 T's of Friendship by Emily Barnes, and the illustrations are by Susan Rios. This is just a beautiful book, and in each section, well, it goes by the month, so there is a chapter for each month, and there are ideas for some kind of tea party for every month with different themes and just different recipes and decoration ideas and things that you could do for any month of the year. Is it completely practical? No, but tea parties aren't practical either. They're just lovely and beautiful and wonderful, and this book was. So I thought it was a beautiful book, and I'm glad that I read it. I had just picked it up, I think, at a book sale somewhere. Then, before I get to my favorite book, I also read an extra book out of my TBR Jar bin, because during middle grade May, I wanted to focus on middle grade books, and so I had thought, well, maybe I just won't read something out of my TBR jar during the month of May. And I happened to walk past the bin that had all the books in it, and I saw a middle grade nonfiction book sticking up out of the bin, and I thought, oh, I could read that for middle grade May, and that'll, check one more off of my out of my bin and out of my jar. So I listened to this on audio. This is Life in Motion by Misty Copeland. She is a ballerina, and I think she was maybe the first African-American ballerina to really make it big and be highly successful. And this is her story, and I really did enjoy it. I listened to it on Hoopla on audio, and then I came back and looked at the book and the pictures, and I'm really happy that I got this read. Okay, so my favorite nonfiction book that I read of this whole batch of books is this one right here. And when I started reading it, I thought, wait, is this nonfiction? Because it's written like fiction. It's called Live 1,000 Years by Giovanni Lavira, and it is written like fiction. It's kind of written like a folk tale, but it's really good, and I'm going to hang on to this. I think this is the kind of book that would be really motivational to read maybe once a year, or at least every couple of years at the beginning of the year when you're goal setting and everything, because basically this uses little fictional stories to teach a life lesson and to motivate you how to live your life to its fullest. And I thought it was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it. And if you can get your hands on a copy of this book, I would recommend it. So then I also drew out a book or a series out of my fiction TBR jar. But if you go back and you watch my last video that was in January of 2019, you will see that I said that I did not at that point read the fiction book that I had drawn out from the very first draw. And that book I don't have anymore, but it was the Stanley Waters mystery series by Willard Scott. There's only 2 in the series, and I had the second one at that point, and I think after I drew it out, I found the first one at our library book sale, so I ended up getting that, and I read both of them, and I really enjoyed them. I wish I still had one to show you, but I have already, I guess, put it in my little free library downtown. Maybe, I don't know. It may still be out in my garage and my yard sale stuff, but I kind of shuffled through those books and I didn't see it. So I have a feeling I've already moved it on out. But it was good. The very first one was, well, Stanley Waters is the protagonist of the series, and he is a retired weatherman. Willard Scott, you write about what you know. So he is a retired weatherman who has bought a bed and breakfast in I guess his hometown. And at the grand opening of that, he was having an event, a big party, like a garden party, and a lady is poisoned. So he has to solve that mystery in the first book. And then in the second book, there is a Civil War reenactment happening on the grounds that are right next to his bed and breakfast. And someone is shot for real at the Civil War reenactment. I think there is an episode of Psych that where that exact same thing happens. But anyway, that was really good. In fact, I had my husband read that one because we have dabbled in Civil War reenactments way back in the day when Emily was small, and that was a lot of fun. So I don't think he read both books though. I think he just read that one. Anyway, I enjoyed both the books. If there had been more in the series, I would read more. I think there was a co-author, Bill Kreider, and Willard Scott is the headline author, and then Bill Kreider is his writing partner. And if you ever get a chance to read those, I think they were very enjoyable. But then the fiction book that I drew out this last time is The Cheese Shop Mysteries by Avery Ames. The only one I have on my shelf is For Cheddar or Worse. This is book 7 in the series. So rather than read book 7, I went to the library and I got the first book, which is The Long Quiche Goodbye, and I read that. And I think after reading that, I've decided I can let this go. This is a very nice copy. I bought it brand new, but I only bought it, I think, at Dollar General, so I paid maybe $3 for it. And I can probably get at least $1.50 or $2 credit for it at the used bookstore. It's in excellent condition. I think why I'm going to go ahead and give this up is because even though the first book was enjoyable, I have so many other cozy mysteries series with themes that I really want to read. And this one was okay, but it had a lot of, because it's about a cheese shop, they also have this wine annex. And so there's just a lot of wine talk. And I'm not into alcohol at all, or, I'm not interested in that. So, and that wasn't the only thing. It just, I don't know, there weren't really that many likable characters. And even though if somebody forced me at gunpoint to read the rest of the series, I would read them and I would probably semi-enjoy them, I didn't love it enough to read anymore. I thought about it. I thought about just maybe going ahead and reading this one just because I owned it and I should read it, but I can let it go. So, and Melinda from Two Boys Scrapping, she was the one who said, life's too short. Don't read something you don't want to read. And you're right. You're absolutely right, Melinda. So, I'm going to let this go. The next time I go to the used bookstore, I'm going to take this in and see if I can get some credit for it. And there you have it. So, that is everything that I read from the last TBR Jar draw, as well as the fiction stuff from the first one. So I'm caught up now completely. So let's just go ahead and draw out some books and see what I'm going to read next from this jar. I'm going to draw out 3 nonfiction books. So I'll draw them out one at a time, and then I'll pause the video and go and get the book and show you what I drew out. So the first one is The Bible Cure by Reginald Cherry, it looks like. Hang on one second. Let me go find it. Okay, I found it. This looks really interesting, and it's not very long at all. It is called The Bible Cure by Reginald Cherry, PhD. Up here at the top it says, a renowned physician uncovers the Bible's hidden health secrets. So maybe it's going to be kind of similar to, like, I think it's called the Daniel diet. I have a cousin in Oklahoma who has really sworn by the Don Colbert method of eating, where it's like, what would Jesus eat, that kind of thing. So maybe this is kind of along those same lines. It is published by Guideposts, and yeah, I'm excited about this. It's not very long, so I will just put this in with my devotional materials, and I'll be able to chink away at it, with my devotion each day. Okay, so let's draw out another and see what I get. I should have worn my glasses. Book of the Everglades. Okay, so this is going to be a Florida book. Hang on, let me go get it. Okay, here we go. The Everglades Book. This is edited by Susan Cerulean, and it has a lot of contributors listed on the back. Some of them are Florida names that I recognize, like Albert and Carl Hyacin, and quite a few others are listed on here. I think that this is a book maybe I got from my husband quite a while back, and he probably read it and was done with it, and I thought, oh, before you let that go, let me read it, and so it ended up in my box. So I'm not a native Floridian, but I'm interested definitely in learning more about Florida and Florida history. So I'm excited about this. Since it's written by a lot of different authors, it will probably be very easy to break into segments and maybe just read a little bit at a time, like a little bit each day over, a month or two. And so this is the Everglades book. Okay, so the next one, I think I'm just going to draw out one more. I'm tempted to draw out four. I don't know. Should I draw out four? Maybe. What do we have left? This is the end of July. So we have August, September, October, November. I think I could do four. Okay, so this one is Through the Bible. I have to put my glasses on. Something about the Bible, I think. Through the Bible by Lee Feldick. Oh, I can draw it for, because this is just a really little short thing that the lady I used to drive for, an older lady, she gave me this. Hang on one second, let me get it for you. Yes, this is also something that'll go very nicely with my devotional time. This is, I guess this author, Les Feldick, has several books, because this is number 22. This is called Through the Bible with Les Feldick. And she gave me this because she was just trying to clean out and, like we all should do, keep things moving. And so this is just a little short thing, and then along with it she gave me this, which is also published by Guideposts. It's by Norman Vincent Peale. Expect a miracle, make miracles happen. So I'll keep these two together, and I will read these sometime soon as well. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do one more, since that's pretty short, and I do have 4 good months, not including December, that I should be able to get all of these read in. Okay, the next one, and this one is also short. I just saw this as I was getting the other books. It's called Fish by, was it Stephen C. London or Landon? Hang on, let me go and get it. Yeah, so this is just a short little motivational book called Fish. It is Stephen C. London, PhD, and London is spelled Lundin, in case you're looking it up. And also Harry Paul and John Christensen. The Wall Street Journal business bestseller. Catch the energy and release the potential. So that looks really good. It's very short. And yeah, I'm excited to get this read. I can always use self-help motivational things to, light a fire under me and get myself going. So that is my nonfiction stack for this time, and really not very intimidating when it comes down to it. These all together are not as long as the last batch. So my goal is to try to get these read before the end of the year. All right, so while I have you still, let me draw out a couple of fiction books. As to whether I get them done by the end of the year, I don't know, but let's just see what happens. Now, what I have in here, there are a few standalone books, but the majority of what's in here is a slip of paper that represents a cozy mystery series, and most of them are series that I maybe only have one of, not necessarily the first one. So if I draw out something like the Cheese Shop, where I have like book 7, I will go and search out the first one and read that, and then I'll decide if I want to keep what I have on my shelf or if I can let it go. And if it's something I want to keep, then what I said in my last video is, if I'm going to keep it and read it through the series, then I have to pull something else off my shelf and add it to the jar to take its place. Now, I just added a bunch to this jar, so maybe I'll give myself a pass this month. But, in the future, that will be what I will do going forward. All right, so the first one is, let me put my glasses on again. The Quilting Mysteries by Terry Thayer. Oh, I'm excited about that because I don't know if my sister has read those or not. I have 2 of them, and I would like to read those and then share those with her. So let me go get them and show them to you. I had even put these back on my shelf after realizing that I had one of them in my TBR bin, and then I had bought another one since then. I had just gone ahead and put them back on my shelf. But now that I've drawn them out, I will go ahead and read these so that I can pass these on to my sister. The first one is called Wild Goose Chase, and the second one is called Old Maid's Puzzle. So that's fun, and I will try to read both of those this year so that I can get those sent to my sister, maybe by Christmas. That's a good goal. So let's go ahead and draw out one more. If I get it, if I don't get it done this year, it's okay. All right, this next one is, I don't want to read this one. And I know this is a book that you guys love. It's Maisie Dobbs, and I said the name wrong when I was showing this, and I apologize for that. I realized that I did. Jacqueline Winspear is the author, Maisie Dobbs. If I can find it on audio, I will for sure listen to it. If I can't find it on audio, I might postpone it till next year. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know why I'm not interested in it. I only picked up the first one at a book sale because I recognized it, and I've heard so many good things about it, and I don't know why I am hesitant to read it, because I think it takes place in the 40s, which is like, that's my parents' era. That's when they married and went to college and all that. And I don't know. So twist my arm about Maisie Dobbs, please. Anybody who loves it. If you didn't like it, let me know that too, because I want to know both sides of it going in, because I really don't know why I'm hesitant to read it. I should go get it and show it to you. Hang on just a second. Okay, so here it is. This is the first in a series. I'm not even sure how many are in the series. I've heard really good things about it. But the other thing is, too, if I start any of these books and I hate them, I don't have to finish reading them. I'm not going to force myself to read something that I hate. This whole project was just to give these books a good second look and see if I wanted to read them or not, and go from there. So, it's all good. If I start this and I'm just not into it, I can let this go. So, for sure, I can. It's the same with any of these. Okay, so this is my fiction picks and my nonfiction. So I have these that I want to try to read before the end of the year, or before the end of November, actually, because I want to try to focus. I always like to try to get everything finished up before Christmas. So that is in addition to the stuff I want to finish on my 20 by 20 Stacking the Series Challenge as well. But once we get done with the Summer Fling, which, by the way, a lot of my TBR for Summer Fling is on my 20 by 20 challenge. So then I have September and October to really just read whatever I want to read that's on my 20 by 20 challenge. And, I'm not going to finish getting everything read off that challenge. So I'm just going to pick what I most want to read off of those lists, and then in November try to focus mostly on nonfiction. So any of these nonfiction ones that I haven't gotten done by then I'll work on those. And if I have all of them read by then, I can always draw out some more. That'll be fun. And maybe I'll just do a TBR jar draw for my nonfiction November. That might be actually kind of fun. So anyway, I'm rambling. I'll let you go. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being there and for commenting down below. If you've read any of these books, or if you want to read any of these books, let's chat about them in the comments. And that's all for this video. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.